Welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. In today's lesson, guys, we're going to be looking at Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's The Amazing Spider-Man issue 24, and this one is called Spider-Man Goes Mad. And as the title suggests, this basically focuses on Peter Parker thinking that he's going crazy, and you can probably guess what the twist is going to be at the end. But overall, it's a really fun, interesting issue that delves into the stress that goes into Spider-Man doing what he does every day and saving the people of New York and stuff like that. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. Real quick, guys, if you want to help me get more videos out faster, you can donate to the channel at the Cash App down below. This helps me treat these videos more like a job and will help the channel and videos to grow and come out more often. I appreciate anyone who donates or doesn't donate, and don't feel like you have to be a fan of the channel. You can still show your support by liking and commenting on the video, and with that out of the way, hope you enjoyed the video. So this story starts off with Peter basically trying to make money and basically doing his superhero stuff and trying to take pictures of different crimes he's able to bust. And that's exactly what Peter basically does when he gets to his Spider-Man costume and basically starts beating up some criminals and trying to get pictures, but that's when he sees the big man basically trying to get the scoop. And yeah, so he kind of realizes that he might not be able to sell these pits to Jonah, and he goes and he tries to talk to Betty Brant, and he finds out that she's still writing letters to Ned Leeds, which doesn't put him in a pretty good mood. And he basically just, gets out of there and kind of lets Betty know that he's not cool with her basically sending letters to Ned Leeds. Now, we get to see that Foswell, which is the big man, basically is talking to J. Jonah Jameson, and he's basically, letting him know that he also hates Spider-Man and stuff like that. And we get to see that Peter basically goes and he starts talking to Liz Allen, and he's basically telling her that he would like to hang out and stuff like that. Basically, just getting a little mad at what is happening with Betty and basically trying to to basically make himself feel better, basically. And one of the reasons why he's doing this as well is not only because of Betty, but because J. Jonah Jameson and Foswell basically had the idea to get to hear what the people in New York have to say about Spider-Man and basically try to put more bad publicity for him. And this actually kind of works out, and it turns out that Jonah actually got a psychiatrist to basically give him a report of what he thinks is wrong with Spider-Man, and he thinks that he's going to crack, pretty soon, and basically go mental. And this kind of like worries Peter because this is like a professional basically giving his opinion on Spider-Man and the antics that he does every day, and that he believes that maybe it's possible he might be going crazy. Flash basically is following Peter because he's kind of mad at him and wants to get him into a fight after school, and he basically uses his fire signal to get Flash to like off his trail. And he gets into his spider costume and basically starts hallucinating fights with Dr. Octopus, Sandman, and the Vulture. And they're really cool action panels, and eventually he realizes that there's nothing there. This makes him believe that he's going crazy as he looks at himself, in the mirror. I mean, it's a really interesting set of artwork panels where we can see just how crazy Ditko makes Peter look. I think that was pretty interesting. Eventually, he goes to find the psychiatrist that had made this, description of him and saying that he's probably going crazy, and he gets Spider-Man to basically come to his house or his office, and everything's basically upside down, which just makes Peter think he's going crazy even more. His perception of reality is just losing itself. Eventually, he gets him kind of like on the couch, and he starts hallucinating again, and he's about to try to get Peter Parker's identity out, telling him that it will make his sanity basically more sane, not having the stress of trying to keep a secret double identity. Eventually, J. Jonah Jameson finds out that the guy who had given the report on Peter, the psychiatrist, was actually a fake. and he arrives basically right whenever this dude is basically trying to get Peter to basically unmask himself. And when he reveals that the dude's basically a fake, Peter like just gets mad, and he kind of starts putting two and two together, and eventually he goes after this guy. While Flash Thompson basically attacks J. Jonah Jameson, believing that he's trying to take out Spider-Man with this dude, and he basically takes off the guy's mask, which reveals that it's actually Mysterio. And it's a pretty obvious plot twist when it has to do with illusions. That's Mysterio's theme. But it was pretty interesting with how far he went to try to convince Spider-Man that he was crazy and that they actually rearranged this area to actually be upside down and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. And the irony of it is Flash says that J. Jonah Jameson would have gotten what he wanted had he not helped Spider-Man, because he would have learned his secret identity, as Mysterio basically confirms to J. Jonah Jameson. And yeah, so Peter basically goes and he hangs out with Liz Allen. And it's pretty interesting that Liz Allen basically, who is a popular girl, basically stops. She doesn't go hang out with her popular friends, instead hangs out with Peter, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And he basically takes her to go see Aunt May, and he basically tells Aunt May not to worry too much about him, and that he will try not to be as, because he had left earlier in the issue to basically like run off because he thought he was going crazy, and he didn't really tell her anything of how he was feeling. So he basically like just promises he won't run off like that again because of her old age. So I give her a shot like that. And it basically ends the issue with him and Liz basically, I guess, going out on a date, which does make Peter look a little scummy because he is dating Betty Brant. But that's how the issue ends, and we'll see how that turns out in the next issue if they deal with that topic of him and Betty Brant's relationship issues. And yeah, and that was Stanley and Steve Ditko's The Amazing Spider-Man issue 24. Spider-Man Goes Mad. Overall, a really fun issue. There isn't really much to talk about with this one either, just like the last issue. It's mainly just a one-shot, but it's really solid, and it deals with the stress that does come with being Spider-Man, and having this type of double identity life. It definitely would catch up to you eventually, but lucky for Spider-Man, he wasn't actually going crazy. It was just some of Mysterio's antics. And hopefully we get some really good Mysterio stories in the future. I think there's a few good ones in the John Romita Sr. era, so if we do get to that and we do start covering that, hopefully we get to see some awesome Mysterio stories in a more, serious manner. But we'll see. As I hear Mysterio's a pretty joke villain. So we'll see. I have to look that up if there's any cool Mysterio stories of Spider-Man. But yeah, overall, the issue was good. I do recommend you go check it out. Link in the description down below. Check it out on Comicsology legally. And yeah, until next video, guys, God bless you. Until the next lesson, keep on reading those comics.